If you work from home and feel strangely more tired at the end of the day than you ever did in an office, this is probably familiar. You finish your work, close your laptop, and instead of feeling relieved, you feel drained in a quiet, heavy way. It does not feel like physical exhaustion, and it does not feel like laziness. Most people assume this means they are doing something wrong. They assume they lack discipline, structure, or motivation. But research and observation suggest something else is happening beneath the surface. For many people, working from home does not feel relaxed or flexible anymore. It feels like being on all the time, even when nothing urgent is happening. It feels like your mind never fully steps out of work mode. You might wake up and check your phone before getting out of bed. You might answer messages while making coffee. You might keep your laptop open longer than planned, just in case something comes in. The workday does not clearly start, and it does not clearly end. It just blends into the rest of your life. Over time, that blending changes how your brain experiences effort and rest. The common explanation is that people are distracted at home, that they waste time, multitask badly, or struggle with self-control. So by the end of the day, they feel tired because they were inefficient. But this explanation does not match what many people actually experience. Many remote workers are more focused, more responsive, and more available than they ever were in an office. They answer faster, stay online longer, and rarely fully disconnect. So if people are not working less and often working more, why does it feel heavier? Why does the exhaustion feel deeper and harder to recover from? Part of the answer lies in how the human brain uses physical spaces. Research suggests that our minds rely on environmental boundaries to separate roles and emotional states. Different locations quietly tell the brain what kind of behavior and attention is expected. An office tells your brain, this is where work happens. Your home traditionally told your brain, this is where you recover. When both happen in the same room, that distinction weakens. Your brain no longer gets clear signals about when to shift gears. It stays in a low-level alert state for much longer. That constant readiness consumes mental energy, even when nothing dramatic is happening. In an office, many decisions are made for you automatically. When to arrive, where to sit, when meetings happen, when people leave. These routines reduce the number of choices your brain has to manage. At home, you suddenly make hundreds of small decisions every day. When to start, where to work, when to take breaks, whether to check messages, whether to keep going. Each choice costs a little bit of attention. Individually, these decisions feel trivial, but over hours and weeks they accumulate. Studies on cognitive load suggest that this kind of constant low-level decision-making is quietly exhausting. There is also the issue of social presence. In an office, you are surrounded by people who are working. Their behavior sets a rhythm without anyone saying a word. At home, that shared rhythm disappears. You become responsible for generating it yourself. Maintaining focus without social cues requires more internal effort than most people realize. Video calls try to replace this, but they work differently. On a call, you are constantly monitoring your face, voice, posture, and background. Research suggests this kind of self-monitoring increases mental strain. In person, much of communication happens automatically. Online, your brain works harder to interpret tone, timing, and reactions. This extra processing adds another invisible layer of fatigue. Then there is the issue of constant accessibility. When your office is inside your home, your work is always nearby. The laptop is a few steps away. The inbox is always in your pocket. Even when you are not working, part of your attention remains oriented toward it. Studies on attention show that unresolved tasks continue to occupy mental space. They stay active in the background of your mind, so you are never fully working and never fully resting. You exist in a middle state where your brain cannot relax deeply but also cannot focus completely. Over time, that state becomes tiring. Many people notice this in small moments. You finish dinner and feel the urge to just check something. You sit on the couch but think about tomorrow's tasks. You go to bed with unfinished mental loops. These moments do not feel dramatic. They feel normal, but they prevent psychological closure, which research suggests is important for emotional recovery. Another factor is the loss of informal breaks. In offices, breaks happen naturally. Walking to meetings, chatting in hallways, stepping outside, getting coffee. These moments give the brain short recovery periods. At home, breaks are often replaced with screen time. You switch from one screen to another. You scroll, reply, and read without changing posture or environment. From the brain's perspective, this is not real rest. It is more information processing. So even when you think you are taking a break, your cognitive systems are still working. Over time, this creates a strange pattern. You feel busy all day, yet oddly unsatisfied. You feel tired, yet not refreshed. You feel like you never quite completed anything. This leads to a quiet realization that many people find uncomfortable. Working from home often turns work into a constant background presence instead of a contained activity. It becomes part of your identity and mental landscape. You are no longer at work or at home.
Against what you already
are
know
always a little
and
bit of
deciding
both.
whether they are
And
important.
that ambiguity places a steady, low-pressure load on your mind. This does not mean remote work is bad. It does not mean offices are healthier. It does not mean anyone should return to commuting or rigid schedules. Research shows that remote work offers many benefits, including flexibility, reduced travel stress, and more autonomy. For many people, it improves overall life satisfaction.
So when you read,
mental exhaustion does not cancel those advantages.
But they never fully
it also does not mean
limited
something is wrong with you. Feeling drained in this context is not a personal failure. It is a predictable response to blurred boundaries, constant accessibility, and sustained cognitive effort. It is what happens when human psychology meets a new way of organizing life. Our brains evolved for clearer separations between roles and environments. We are still adapting to this shift. Understanding this does not magically make the fatigue disappear, but it changes how you interpret it. Instead of seeing it as weakness, you see it as information. It tells you something about how your attention, energy, and identity are being used. It reveals the hidden costs of convenience and flexibility. Many people working from home are doing fine on the surface. They meet deadlines, answer messages, and appear productive. Internally, they feel stretched in subtle ways. That stretch does not always show up as stress or anxiety. Sometimes it shows up as dullness, irritability, or emotional flatness. Sometimes it shows up as needing more recovery time than before. None of this means remote work is failing. It means the human mind is responding honestly to its conditions. It is signaling that constant partial engagement has limits. When you feel more tired at home than in an office, you are not imagining it. You are experiencing the effects of invisible mental labor, blurred spaces, and sustained attention without clear closure. This is not a problem to solve quickly. It is something to understand slowly. It is part of living in a world where work no longer has walls. And for many people, simply realizing that this exhaustion has real psychological roots is quietly relieving. It allows you to see your experience clearly, without blame. It lets you recognize that your tiredness makes sense.